Welcome back to Her Life Fully Lived.
Mm.
If you've ever looked at your life from the outside, the career, the achievements, the checked boxes, and felt a quiet gap between all of that and how you actually feel on the inside, today's conversation is for you. My guest is Cindy Gosselin, founder of Choose Wellness and a life coach who works with women who are, in her words, capable, driven, and yet something feels profoundly off. She knows this terror personally. She's been through burnout and restlessness herself, and now she helps women excavate the parts of themselves they've had to set aside in order to keep going. What I love about Cindy's approach is that it isn't about analyzing what went wrong, it's about architecture, building forward from the wisdom that's already inside you, not fixing, uncovering. So let's get into it.
Hey,
Welcome, Cindy. I'm so happy that you're here.
I'm so happy to be here. Thank you for having me.
So, you describe yourself as having once been burned out, restless, longing for more. What did that season of your life actually look like from the inside? And what was the moment you knew something had to change?
There's actually been multiple times where things had to change. And I think that's quite normal in our life that we get to a certain point where we've created these beautiful lives for ourselves, and yet something just doesn't quite feel right. And so the major turning point for me was in my early 20s. I found myself navigating the medical system, and over several years, different diagnosis, my body was failing. And unfortunately, I was told that I would be in a wheelchair by the time I was 30. And that was just unacceptable. And so I went down the road of alternative wellness, and I was able to turn my health around and recapture my wellness. And that's what really brought me to where I am today and wanting to help other women. Not only am I a life coach, but I also spent 10 years as a massage therapist, really helping others to reclaim their physical wellness so that way they could achieve what they wanted to achieve. I often relate the body to your vehicle for life. And, you wouldn't take a car that you couldn't rely on a long road trip. And yet, this is what we're doing with our bodies.
Mm.
If we're not doing enough maintenance to upkeep a really good vehicle, keep our vehicle in good running condition, and unfortunately, we end up towards the end of our life not having a reliable vehicle to go and do all the things that we want to be doing in our lives. And so that's what I do, why I do what I do, and why it's important to me, because after half of my life and $250,000, that's what it's cost me for my wellness. And I want to prevent others from having to go down that road or having to be on that road for that long.
Yeah, a lot of the women listening are high functioning, successful on paper, exhausted underneath. Why do you think competence can become such a good hiding place for disconnection?
Part of it is that we've become so good at doing things ourselves that everyone around us sees that we are functioning well, that we've got it all together. And so it's very rare that people offer help to those that they see can handle it on their own. And also don't really check up on the people that seemingly have it all together on the surface. They don't see what's happening underneath. And so that disconnection can happen because of that. People don't like check on the strong one or the one that's got it all together. They're more concerned with checking on those that do need help, that are obviously struggling.
Absolutely. And you also make a clear distinction between coaching and therapy, that therapy
Oh,
explores the past while coaching architects the future. It's a nice word.
absolutely.
In your experience, when does a woman actually need to look backward before she can move forward?
Always a good time to look in the rearview mirror to see where we have been, but we need to spend more time looking in through the windshield than looking in the rearview mirror. That's why the size difference. The windshield is so much bigger than the rear view. When we're having a hard time coping, when it's affecting our ability to wake up, to go to work, to sleep, I think those are really important times to seek out therapy. But if we're functioning quite well and we know we want to go a little bit further and we're struggling with at that level, I think that that's when a coach comes into is when to seek out a coach.
So you talk about the body carrying the weight of unexpressed emotions. How do you help a client who lives almost entirely in her head start to trust what her body is telling her?
One of the ways is through just tuning in with the body, checking in with the body every day.
Mm.
So one of the things I like to take people through, especially with this movement workshop that I teach, is to just stop and pause from time to time and ask body, treat body like the partner that it is in your life, and ask, how are you doing? What do you need right now? You know, because our body carries us through all of our responsibilities and our challenges and showing up for everybody else. We don't really check on our body. You know, on our cars, we have a check engine light and different things that light up. It is very obvious that the vehicle needs attention. Whereas our body shows us that it needs attention through sensation. So our body signals, when our knee is sore, that's a signal that that knee needs attention. Something's up with it. I think that that's one of the ways that we can check in with our body, throughout the day at any point in time.
And one of your core beliefs is that people already have the answers within them. What does it look like practically when you help a client uncover an answer she didn't know she had rather than just giving her one?
It's so beautiful to watch it in a coaching session when the light bulb goes on in a dark room. It just, when it finally clicks. And I feel like one thing that a coach can do is create that container for a person to quiet the noise, because we often look outside of ourselves for the answers. And that just is societal norm because we're not taught to channel within or tune in within. And so when we quiet everything around us, we get out of the mind and into the body.
There's so much wisdom found there.
Limiting beliefs and the stories that have kept us small. Those are easy words to say and hard patterns to actually shift. What's a limiting belief you see most often in successful women, and how does it usually show up disguised as something else?
What I often see in successful women showing up as a limiting belief is hyper independence. And that is born out of a time in our younger years where we chose to be helpful, to show up, and so we could be seen, so we could be loved, so we could get that need met. It comes out of survival. And what happens is we go from being helpful as a way to be seen and to be loved into our later years of being hyper independent, not asking for help, therefore not receiving help. And that is a signal that we actually don't trust ourselves to discern who to ask for help, and that we can rely on other people. And so I see that often happen a lot with successful women, is we just become so good at doing things ourselves that asking for help and support just becomes something that we don't do.
That's the biggest block I see in my work as well. It's incredible how independent we women can be, and we don't need anyone. And it's really hard sometimes.
It is hard.
Yeah. So you call your work empowered choice rather than just change. What's the difference, and why does that distinction matter so much to the way transformation actually sticks?
It's easy to change things. We can change our hair, we can change their style of dress. It changes on the outside. Empowered choice starts from inside. When you're doing the work that really matters, that really creates the difference in our lives, is when we start from within, not from without. I believe empowered choice comes from a place of tuning into ourselves and what we truly want. What do we truly believe? What are our desires that we want to create in the world? And starting from that place, it's aligned. It's, empowered choice is aligned choice.
Absolutely. So if a woman is hearing all of this or seeing the interview, nodding, recognizing herself, but still telling herself, maybe later, maybe when things calm down, what would you want her to know about that voice?
That may not be your voice of wisdom. That might be the ego mind, the voice that says change is hard, the voice that's trying to tell us to stay safe, comes from a place of a very old sort of caveman concept that is just, they just want to keep us safe. And that's when I would encourage you to speak to that part of your mind and say thank you for your input. I've got this. And and remind yourself that you're safe, that change is not something to be afraid of, especially if it's something that you're being called forward to.
And I'd love to give listeners a small taste of what working with you actually feels like. Could you walk us through one simple practice right here, live, something a woman could try in this very moment to start reconnecting with her body's wisdom or noticing where she's been overriding herself?
Absolutely. And if it's okay with you, I'd love to take you through the full movement series that's head to toe.
Wonderful.
That would be the gift that I would like to do. Being in touch with your body and in touch with movement. And unfortunately, in today's society, we don't move enough. So I'm going to take you through a head to toe movement series that is based on pranic healing and some of the work that I've done in massage therapy and have recognized that we're not doing enough of. So I invite you to make some space, to stand up, and make sure you've got enough space around you because we're going to be moving our arms and legs. And I'd love for you to join in. And we're not going to be doing a lot of like vigorous movement. Don't worry, you're not going to work up a sweat. It's just easy, simple movement. And so I'm going to just shut my camera off for a moment and rearrange a little bit here. And
Very
then
good.
I'll jump right back on. So this movement series is 12 reps of the same movement, and it's for every movement that we're going to do. We're going to start with the eyes. Because we're facing forward and looking at everything that we're focused on in a day, we don't give the eyes a lot of movement. And so we're going to start with some rotation. I like to start clockwise. And so we'll do 12 of each and go ahead and start. And I'll keep count. 6. And then we're going to go the other way. 6. And now we're going to move to our neck. Our neck often carries a lot of tension from our day-to-day stuff. So we're going to do what I like to call yeses, so which is a chin tucked it down, and all the way back. And we're going to do 12 of these. That's 6. And so that's 12. The next one I like to call nose. So it's looking over each shoulder. And you might hear some crackling. That's normal. Just notice what's coming up. I lost count there, but that's okay. This last one, it's kind of silly. I call it the check for BO. So it's a half a no and chin tuck down. And this just goes to stretch the part of our neck that is in charge of rotation and can be really, really stiff and sore on the body. And so next we're going to do ear to shoulder on each side. And next we're going to move down the body to our shoulders. And so we're just going to do some shoulder shrugs and just let them drop. We often have our ears really close to our shoulders with stress, so just let those drop. 3. And then next we're going to do our elbows, because how much attention do we give our elbows? So just let those drop. And then we'll move into wrists. We're just going to rotate the wrists. A little bit of clicking. It's totally normal. This is all the typing and scrolling on our phones, just giving attention to those wrists. And we'll go the other way. And next, we're going to give our fingers some attention, because how often do we actually give the fingers attention? And we're just going to flick whatever is just any energy away. We're going to give that over to Mother Nature. And 12. And next, we're going to move into the pecs. What I find is that with all of the reaching forward, our pecs can get shortened, and a lot of us have some shoulder rounding. So this is really important for doing the opposite action of what we're doing too much of. So we're just going to do some pec stretches, open up the chest. This also helps with breathing and lung capacity. So next, we're going to do some rotation. Just some torso twists. One of the things, along with backward actions we don't do enough in the day, is rotation. Just notice what you feel. All right, next up, we're gonna do some arm over head side bends. So you're gonna wanna be more than hip width apart with your feet, just to give yourself some stability. And we're gonna go arm overhead and let that stretch go down the side of your body. All right, you're probably already feeling some energy flow and movement. Next up, with our feet more than hip width apart, we're just going to lean and open up the inside of the hip. And we're just going to do that both sides 12 times. This can be really good, especially for women, in opening up the hips. And now we're going to move into some rotation. I like to call them hula hoops. So big old circles with your hips and just tuning in and listening for where it feels tight and giving it maybe just a little extra time in there. And now we're going to go the other direction. You might notice that one hip is tighter than the other. And all is well, just notice. All right, now that we have those hips opened up, now we're going to do some leg swings. You're going to need a little bit more space to do these because you're going to go forward and back. So we're just going to swing forward and all the way back. 2. It's not often that we use the full range of motion. So this is one of those practices that can actually get you moving full body. So next up, we're going to, with your leg bent, I'm just going to do the back part of the leg swing. So just kicking back. And this is one of those exercises that can actually tone your glutes. So just an added benefit. And so this next one is just leg bent again, and we're just going to kick forward from the knee. Next, we're going to do some ankle rotation. So we're going to do clockwise, just like the wrists.
It's always the same leg, yes?
Yeah, it's easier to do one leg at a time and then switch to the other leg. Okay, and opposite direction. Now we're going to, like we're pressing the gas pedal with our foot, we're just going to do some pedal action forward. Really good for moving the lymphatics in the body because unlike the heart, or unlike the circulatory system, the heart is the pump. We don't have a pump for our lymphatic system. That's our muscles. All right, same thing, other leg. Full leg swing, front and back, 12 times.
I'm getting my double dose of exercises today.
Oh, good. So 12, and now we're going to do that backward part again. All right, and the knee just kicking forward. What I love about these is that it can be a movement routine in itself, or it can be a warm-up for going to the gym or going for a run or going for a hike. Gets the whole body involved and gives every part of your body the attention it needs. All right, and ankle rotation. And if you've been following along, I'm sure you're already feeling the energy flowing through your body a little bit more than what it was. And just that pedal action now for the ankles. All right, so this is, we got a couple more moves and then that'll be it for this movement workshop. So the next one is we're gonna draw up anything that's not serving us in a full breath, all reaching all the way up and folding forward. And we're just giving that over to the earth. Big exhale on the way down. All right. Now I bet you can really feel that energy flowing. I don't know about you, but I'm pretty warm. And last but not least, we're going to give the knees some attention. So these are like mini squats. So we're going to do 50 of these. And I like to just send my roots and ground into the earth while doing this, just imagining the roots coming out from the bottoms of your feet, going into the earth. I've totally lost count. keep count yourself. I also like to do some deeper ones, just to intensify a little bit, get a little bit of a workout in. We'll just do a few more of these. You guys get the point. So 50 little mini squats or adding full-on squats into it. All right, 2 more. 1 and 2. Ooh, and then you can just shake it out. All right, let me just grab my chair here. You feel a little bit more energized?
Absolutely. I feel more warmth in my body.
Yes, me too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very nice.
I just love this movement series because it does the entire body. And what was that? That was maybe 10 minutes, 10 to 15 minutes. It's, I like to say a movement routine that you can do in less time than it takes you to get ready to go to the gym.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, thank you for that. That was nice. Yeah.
It's so easy. You don't need anything but you and your body, and you're always with body, so you can do it anywhere, including in front of the TV.
And these are the exercises that made you heal?
It's one of my go-tos, honestly. Anytime I'm feeling stiff, sore,
mm,
stagnant,
mm,
low energy, and I just need to like
mm,
get a little bit of a reboot,
mm,
this is that go-to movement routine that always gives me a little bit extra.
mm.
And like I said, it's something that can be used as a warm up for
Yeah,
any activity that you're doing, going for a run, going for a hike, you know, anything really. And it's so important because we don't really prime the body when we're getting ready to do activity. And, you know, as you notice, it warmed everything up. We've got the circulatory system going, we got the lymphatic system working. We're going to be able to go about our activities better because motion is lotion in the body, you know? And so you can do a stretch routine after this, you can do a yoga class, really anything.
fantastic. Cindy, thank you for this movement series, for this
You're so welcome.
conversation, for the honesty about your own path, and for reminding us that the discomfort we feel isn't a malfunction, it's information.
Yes, it is.
Uh,
Definitely.
yeah, and if today's episode stirred something in you, a recognition, a restlessness, a that's me, I'd invite you to sit with that rather than rush past it. That's
Mhm.
usually where the real movement begins. You can find Cindy and her work at choosewellnesscoaching.com, but I will give you a link where you find all of what she has to offer.
Including this movement routine that you can download and print off and post anywhere that you're going to see it every day.
Wonderful. And you can also book a clarity call. Yes? If
Absolutely.
you'd like to explore working with Cindy directly. And if this episode moved you, I'd love it if you shared it with a woman in your life who needs to hear it and left a review. It genuinely helps this show reach more of the women it's meant for. Thank you so much,
Absolutely.
Cindy, for your
You're so
time.
welcome.
Until next time, take good care of yourself fully.
Thank you.